After its launch in 2005 and unfortunate closure in 2017, Club Penguin has continued to be a well-known title amongst young people and those who are familiar with both Flash games and virtual communities like Toontown, Webkins, and Habbo Hotel. Club Penguin shut down in lieu of a hyper-predatory microtransactions-based mobile reboot that failed within 2 years, which I couldn't be happier about. Once the announcement came that it was shutting down, there was a massive influx of players that both came back to the game for its last month and stuck around playing popular private servers over the next few years, which is why I know for a fact that Club Penguin has had an astounding and long-lasting impact on many more people than just myself. It's a game I still bring up in conversation with my friends often because of how much I loved Club Penguin, or CP for short. And in this 3-part video I want to try to explain what made Club Penguin so special and why it captured the hearts of millions of players. I hope I can capture that magic here. So without further ado, this is me, Fobico. I've used the name Fobico since I first made my penguin back in late 2006. And the quirkiness of it fits Club Penguin's tone so well that it encourages me to continue to use it in every iteration of CP I've played, instead of using my online alias Metavaria, which is a more suitable name for, say, a sci-fi fantasy character than a dancing penguin. This is how I look right now in Club Penguin Rewritten, a private server I enjoy and have made a lot of new friends on. I'd like to say a quick thank you to Stu from CPR for permission to use their server for footage for this video. Club Penguin at its purest form was a chat room. To be specific, multiple interconnected chat rooms that together formed an explorable virtual world with each room fleshed out to create more spaces to talk and expand the play space and culture. It also served as a hub for minigames that were either well-known puzzle games, Flash games adapted into Club Penguin, or games that were totally unique to the site that would all award players with in-game currency used to purchase clothes and furniture. The first concept of Club Penguin was created by Rocket Snail from Rocket Snail Games, who released experimental penguins in the year 2000. EP was his first attempt at a multiplayer game, and it was a simple concept. It was a chat room where each player was given a penguin avatar. They could give their penguins a name, talk to each other, and explore a 4-room world. EP was a huge success despite only lasting a year due to high server costs, and that success has motivated Rocket Snail to continue to make new worlds to this day. He later released a new and improved version of experimental penguins with Penguin Chat in 2003, which now had full chat bubbles instead of a simple chat list like normal chat rooms have, along with other features like emotes and snowballs that became staples of Club Penguin. From there, Rocket Snail had a dream he believes could be realized with Club Penguin, a safe place for us kids could play online. This game had to hold thousands of players at once, have protections in place from online predators, and of course generate enough revenue to keep up with production expenses. Rocket Snail, with his new team at New Horizon Interactive, ended up developing the third iteration of experimental penguins in 2005 to test out the massive servers with live feedback. This was Penguin Chat 3. Look a little familiar? PC3 was essentially the alpha test of the big update, Club Penguin, and once Club Penguin launched, it immediately met each of the team's 3 main goals. CP could hold thousands of players, its optional membership subscription program was very profitable, and it was a safe place for children thanks to active moderators that would monitor popular rooms, chat filters that would block certain words or phrases deemed unsafe, and a reporting system that could be used by anyone to notify mods when they weren't around about players cheating or asking for personal information. Instead of 3D environments, chat rooms made up the island of Club Penguin just like its predecessors, with 2D backgrounds to work off your imagination and create different atmospheres, along with looping background music to help set the tone. The island used choke points, such as the coffee shop and nightclub, as chat rooms meant to entertain large numbers of players and guide conversation. Those choke points could often be identified by that music I mentioned, and those tracks were certainly catchy enough to encourage me to stick around a little bit longer. From a design standpoint, multiple rooms were a necessity for a game like Club Penguin. Just look at how crowded some of these rooms could get. Imagine trying to have a conversation in that. The funny thing is, these rooms were nothing more than just illustrations. The developers did a phenomenal job using both their artistic talent to provide a sense of depth to the world, and barriers at the walls of the buildings to keep players on the ground and block players from seemingly walking up walls. It was a huge step up from the primarily white backgrounds of EP. A cool thing about those rooms was they all had this circular appearance to them. The details helped our imagination, but each room still held its purpose as a chat room, as its accents drew the viewer's eyes around the room and back to the center where their penguins were standing and talking. They also had a warped fishbowl-looking appearance that gave this novelty feeling of using an old CRT monitor. I really love the artist's CP with its thick black borders on everything and laid-back style. Just look at how squiggly some of these details were, and consider how much more welcoming the game was because of them. One aspect of the game's greatest appeal was its mystery, though a lot of that was due to the game being rather unfinished when it launched. In fact, there were a lot of features that took years to be ready, such as the ninjas. Their dojo was designed after the dojo in The Matrix, and it was originally right in the middle of the plaza. The plaza released early due to constant requests from the community for a pet system, so the plaza came out with a building clearly missing from the middle. Arsenal didn't know what to do with the dojo yet, so he just threw it in the mountains where it ended up staying for good. Secrets in Club Penguin were both driven by the developers and pushed through rumors from the community. Ninjas, giant squids, golden puffles, tipping the iceberg. There was so much fun to be had running around with everyone, trying new things and going new places. You never knew what you could find. The developers gave players the environment and tools they needed to enjoy each other and the island their penguins lived on, like rooms that would frequently change or giving players their own private chat rooms in the form of customizable igloos. Penguins would role-play as waiters, pirates, secret agents, playing hockey teams, throw their own igloo parties, you name it. The developers always added new things to the game that kept us players on our toes, like hidden pins every couple of weeks or random events that popped up out of nowhere. Every month they would throw a party that was either themed like a pirate party or a medieval party or for a holiday like Christmas. These parties became a tradition after a party was held during the initial beta test that encouraged players to log on for a free item. That party's purpose was to simply stress the servers as far as they could, but New Horizon Interactive realized they found a nice routine. Each month would have a gentle balance, with most of the month being normal Club Penguin life, and the end of the month being a unique experience with fun music, decorations, and free items that both members and non-members could pick up. Events like these always gave us something to look forward to. The Club Penguin community was alive, thriving, and passionate about their game. But as developers rotated in and out over time, the new people in charge who didn't understand the community or the game made both big and small changes that devastated the overall experience, a pattern we see over and over to this day. Club Penguin was bought by Disney in 2007, and while the next 2 years were some of the best years the game ever saw, things began to fall apart after that as the newer developers' priorities changed and Disney began demanding more and more to milk Club Penguin for all they believed it was worth. The creator Lance Priebe, Rocket Snail, left the company, now named Disney Online Studios Canada, in 2010 to spend more time with his family. Chris Hendricks, Screenhog, the main artist and composer, ended up leaving as well due to creative differences shortly after. And the president, Lane Merrifield, Billy Bob, officially left in 2013 despite having a lot of optimism for Club Penguin's future. Check out their social media pages when you get the chance and you can see how important their talents and attitudes were in shaping the Club Penguin experience. With new developers at the helm, a lot of Club Penguin's design shifted. Its art style changed as new artists redesigned everything. Items looked like they were from a completely different game, and rooms completely lost that warped appearance, focused centering, and squiggly lines that all came together to form that magic. The pine trees and furniture that covered the island lost their look as the color palettes changed, and highlights on the edges of the objects gave everything this weird, glowing style that's really unpleasant to look at. Even the thick black lines that made Club Penguin look like Club Penguin went away. Compare these new rooms that Disney Online Studios created to some of these older room concepts. Which one looks more like Club Penguin? With the loss of Billy Bob, there was a massive priority shift from the community to the profit. Parties moved away from charming theme-based parties to full-on takeover parties that were nothing more than marketing ploys for upcoming Disney movies. The damaging effect of this was these parties weren't about gathering large numbers of players to the game. They were about getting more people to pay for memberships. Because of that, these huge parties often lasted way longer than they should have, which was hurtful to the normal life-to-party balance. There was less developer community interaction and little to no interest in community feedback, and that's a huge problem when the game developers should be the most active and nourishing members of their whole community. You can see this loss of interest in what was best for the community in their huge changes to the membership monetization in the early 2010s. Besides the price increase and party treatment, memberships became far more than just cosmetic. For example, now there were paywalls to levels and minigames that had been free for years. Out of Jetpack Adventure's 5 great levels everyone was allowed to play, guess how many levels you got to play now if you weren't a paid member? 1 level. 1 level! Out of 59 levels in Astro Barrier? 5. The team could have taken the time to make 5 more Jetpack levels or a sequel to Astro Barrier and offer them to paid members only, but instead they went the cheap route. And I understand the need for a company to monetize their free game somehow, and a subscription that allows you to purchase unlimited cosmetics as you play versus purchasing each cosmetic item outright is pretty cool to me if the game itself is free. I'm not as big of a fan of monetizing new activities, but the paywall activities that were already free, that's so ugly. Of all the changes, the worst was Club Penguin lost its purpose as a chat room, as the chat filter got so strict the majority of conversations between players were long silences followed by, "Did that show?" In the end, the game was shut down and replaced by a completely new game on mobile, where basically the entire game was inaccessible if you didn't shell out the cash. Game developers over the last 10 years have had a terrible habit of completely changing their games and calling it innovation, and then doubling down out of stubbornness and evil pride when their new product completely fails both financially and as a work of art. Despite all that happened, many new Penguins enjoyed those last few years of Club Penguin, and I'm happy they did. Many of us still look fondly back at the classic early days when it was more of a club than a corporate cash grab, and while the game is gone, and as a Disney property probably will be gone for good, the community is still around, and they still love and appreciate the time they spent there. I didn't want to be the only one to be able to talk about why Club Penguin was special, so I collected input from some friends and other active members of the Club Penguin community on why they believed it was special and what it meant to them. Here's what a few of them have to say. So many of us were able to connect with players around the world even back then as children. It was always exciting to see new updates and make new friends, and it kept people coming back for more. I think the effort that was put in by the creators to create different narratives, like Secret Agents, Karjitsu, Rockhopper, and include little Easter eggs here and there, added a new dimension to the experience. Different locations were given deeper meanings, and the whole world felt more alive. As a kid, Club Penguin was an escape from reality. It was a way for me, my friends, and my siblings to bond, and now as an adult, it holds the same factors. Club Penguin offered an interesting way to meet people from around the world and connect in ways you never would have imagined. A lot of Club Penguin Rewritten users are typically around the same age area of life as me, so it lets me escape into a silly reality when my current isn't so pleasant. I talked to my friend Rima about her thoughts on CP, and she had a lot to say about how it helped people connect across the world. She also said something that was very unique amongst the people I spoke to. She said, "In 2005, I played as a kid, and what pulled me in most was that I was free to dress, decorate my igloo, and earn coins from minigames. I was free to do anything." While this may not seem significant at first, her statement is rather profound when you remember that there are still many places in the world where women aren't allowed to even show their hair in public, let alone dress in the fashion they like. While there are many games that offer a similar experience, the ability to express herself is what made Club Penguin special to her. Club Penguin enables you to relate to people who have had the same experiences as you, and allows you to talk easily and freely about your life and interests with others all over the world under the guise of an animated penguin. People still return today to private servers like Club Penguin Rewritten in order to enjoy its fulfilled role as a medium in which we share our lives. It's an experience that helped teach us what it meant to grow up and deal with change over time. It could be an insult to call Club Penguin just a game. I started Club Penguin in 2006 with a name that had no meaning and the intention to move on to the next Flash game amongst the hundreds on miniclip.com after 15 minutes. I never could have imagined the impact Club Penguin would have on me. I had a friend on Club Penguin from 2007 to 2012 named Teapot that I at first didn't get along with at all. I forget why, perhaps she was just sassy, but I saw her around everywhere despite not being on my buddy list, and she ended up becoming an amazing friend. We were both at difficult times in our lives where we struggled with loneliness. Her from just moving to a new state, and me from just becoming joint custody, so the time we spent on Club Penguin was pretty important to us. As we got older, we stopped playing Club Penguin on a daily basis. Her sooner than me, and only saw each other from only every few months to maybe once a year if we were lucky, so I was always grateful for the little postcard she sent me to let me know she was still there. Though I played Club Penguin here and there until the end, Teapot quit sometime between 2015 and 2016, and her Penguin was deleted around that time due to inactivity. In the last month of Club Penguin before it closed, I made accounts on many different private servers that started popping up, but I decided not to play them. With over 10 years of progress on Club Penguin and all my Penguin friends gone, I decided to finally quit. I think I went on CP Rewritten one time a year or so later to show a couple new college roommates what Club Penguin was kind of like, and I picked up a hat while I was there, but I didn't really start playing until October 2019 after telling my fiancé all about how great Club Penguin was. I was sick with nostalgia, so I started playing CPR regularly shortly after and got hooked. Though I still don't have all of my old items, I immediately got my ghost costume back, which was a big factor in me staying, and I now have quite the inventory after just a few months. I graduated college and had a lot of free time as I waited for employers to get back to my applications, and in that time I've made a lot of really cool friends on CPR. And thanks to my coming back, the craziest thing happened while I was in the middle of making this video. I found my friend. For us to be playing the same fan-made Club Penguin game, at the same time, on the same server, after 8 years? Well, that's just providential. I can't express how happy I was to finally reconnect with her, and you can imagine how amplified that happiness became, with of course a bit of frustration at myself, when I learned that she'd been playing CPR for years in hopes of finding me. She's even more exciting than I remember, and she's a true blessing to both Club Penguin and its community. This is what Club Penguin means to Teapot. To me, Club Penguin was a place I could go and be by myself. As a kid, I would say I was pretty insecure, so talking to a lot of people in person could be intimidating for me. But on Club Penguin, I could make new friends without being scared. I was lucky enough to meet my friend Fobico, who I love chatting with every day, and I was able to have a great friendship miles and miles away. Club Penguin made it so easy to make great friends. Now I get to relive some of my favorite times as a kid on Club Penguin Rewritten. I get to go online to a place that is so familiar, somewhere that used to bring me so much joy. The fun thing is everyone is older now. Most of us are around the same age and played the previous game. It's so fun to go online and feel like a kid again, and I was fortunate enough to find and reconnect with my greatest friend from the original. We never would have reconnected if it wasn't for CPR. Club Penguin was a great game because of its unique and exceptionally purposed design as a safe and lovable virtual community. It had and still has a thriving community and culture founded on both the love of the familiar and the excitement of the mysteries that have yet to unfold. Screenhog says Club Penguin lives on in us. That island still exists in many forms, and each and every one of us penguins have a place on that island with stories to tell about both how we got there and the memories we made together. Why was Club Penguin so special? Because of that community. Don't take it from me, Billy Bob said it himself in his letter goodbye. He finished off his final blog post saying you are what makes Club Penguin special. Never forget that, before using his signature phrase, waddle on.